The last 5 years have been filled with drama, trauma and tragedy. And my name's Lorraine, and I want to share a little bit of my background over the last few years. I've faced legal intimidation and litigation abuses from a former partner. I was promised a secure retirement together in Spain. Instead, I've lived through fear and uncertainty that has caused anxiety, trauma and panic attacks. First, I was threatened and intimidated by the ex before he left me in the property in Spain. He told me he was in control. I had to do as he said, or he could throw me out onto the streets. Next, in a recorded meeting of 26 minutes, he told me I had 4 months, and if I didn't buy the house, and if the house didn't sell, then he was returning here and I would be out. He also raged in an angry, aggressive way. You cannot negotiate with me. You cannot negotiate a gift. A gift that was never given, only promised. Living in fear is not a good place to be. I was also re-traumatised by the professionals that were supposed to help and support me. I had no idea who I was anymore. I had no idea how I was going to survive. I followed the legal advice from Spanish solicitors. 1. Do not leave the property. Negotiate. 2. File a gender violence complaint. 3. If he terminates the utilities, you can file another complaint. 4. 2023, the utilities were terminated. I was given advice to file a complaint of coercion by the solicitor who was my criminal lawyer in the 7 false allegations that the ex-partner had made against me in 2022. Both of the complaints I made were dismissed in the women's gender violence courts. The ex-partner started legal proceedings in October of 2020 to have me evicted before I filed the first gender violence complaint. The civil court held the verbal hearing in 2022. My free, public appointed legal representative discriminated against me on the grounds of language and socio-economic status. This is a human rights violation. Article 6, no fair hearing. None of the evidence of his behaviours was allowed into the civil court. As the Gender Violence Court had dismissed the case, it was as if none of his threats or intimidation happened. I was told, negotiate. I did, from 2020 to 2021, 7 attempts on my part, which ended with a handwritten document that we both signed in July 2021. He did not honour that agreement. He changed one of the terms of the agreement from money on sale agreed to money on vacant possession. So I offered him vacant possession as I had the offer of a place to go. If he'd paid the financial settlement he had agreed to, and he refused to communicate or pay the agreed settlement. He pressed ahead with the eviction from May 2021 with a new lawyer in Barcelona. By January of 2022, I received an email out of the blue. Happy New Year, Lorraine. Oh my. As if nothing had happened, none of his toxic behaviours, none of his threats, and no apology. There was another potential buyer who wanted to view. Would I accommodate a viewing? I asked for help from a relationship coach who I'd met online. She helped to draft a reply. It said, I would accommodate a viewing, but also asking for him to honour his first financial proposal, the 50% of the value of the property. I hit send and hoped for the best. The next reply came from the angry monster who I knew in the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde relationship I'd experienced. Another threat. Have you ignored the court documents? And the words. You are now at risk of the Guardia Civil turning up unexpectedly and you will be asked to leave with just your personal possessions. I felt sick to the pit of my stomach. How can he do this? Then, in the next breath, I heard a voice in my mind. He wants you to be in fear. Yes, it's true. He wanted me to be in fear. I made a decision to send the email to the first solicitor who had given the advice to file a gender violence complaint, which the court had dismissed. This solicitor reassured me that the Guardia would not turn up and ask me to leave, but that I should go to the court and collect the documents myself to stop the process and request legal representation. So while I have been through all of the trauma, dealing with lawyers, court cases, and the tragedy of the sudden death of my youngest daughter, I've failed to thrive. I'm still here, and following the legal advice did not help me. So from 2020 to 2021, I started my first YouTube channel with 5-minute affirmation videos. I wrote a chapter in a collaborative book and I launched a website, lifechangeplans.com. From 2021 to 2022, I self-published my first book the month before I stood in the civil court where my lawyer told me the judge will order your eviction. I was writing that book from April 2021 and published under a pen name in May 2022. I also started learning about how to use videos on YouTube to do reviews of affiliate programs and software. From 2022 to 2024, I had 3 overlapping litigations against me. One was the eviction in the civil court. The other was 7 criminal allegations, including defamation, because I dared publish the truth about the relationship and what happened post-separation. The Barcelona lawyer used heavy-handed scare tactics. He requested maximum penalties for each of the allegations, which added up to 17 years of prison. The third litigation in the civil court was for moral damages for his client. At the same time, I launched Mindset, Money Success as a podcast and a Facebook group. So please be mindful that I may not have been showing up here in the Facebook group or with my podcast, as my creativity and emotional well-being was being attacked by these outside influences on my life. I have also obtained a certification in trauma-informed coaching. I'm now working on the full coaching certification and I'm needing to learn that skill. I started writing the sequel to my first book as I want to tell the rest of the story of my journey through what is post-separation legal intimidation and litigation abuses. I've also worked on a business plan and a financial projection as I want to find, fund and transform an unserviced land plot in southern Spain. This project has been running in the background for 12 months, and since all of the criminal allegations have now been dismissed, I'm not facing a prison sentence. I hope I can now focus on how to move the project forward. And if you've listened this far, I've discovered that I'm a non-confrontational personality. I made excuses for the behaviours of the person I was in a relationship with, and I also realised that I'm a humanitarian and I have fought for the rights of other people in my life, and now I'm fighting for my own. human rights. And the image here at the end of this video is the property from the driveway that I'm still precariously occupying in 2025 after losing everything that I worked for in 11 years of having my own business. Sharing my story isn't always easy, but it matters. And if you'd like to help me to keep going, you can support me by buying my book or donating to my Buy Me a Coffee donation platform. You can find those links in my bio just here. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.